Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talking About Birds, the only Cardinal podcast that, like signing Matt Carpenter, is a complete waste of everyone's time. My name is Nate Heininger, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Ben Samorka.
Hey, Nate.
And this week, on a very special 100th episode, we've got a killer crew of Tab All-Stars returning to the show to help us try to bring something actually enjoyable to all of you that are listening. Let's see. First, we have from the Peace, Love, and Baseball podcast, as well as many other wonderful bits of content, Kelsey Burd joining us. Thank you for being here, Kelsey.
Happy 100th, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we have him from his clips on Twitter, probably from running into him drunk at a bar, and his support on the Birds on the Black content, Kyle Reis.
I thought for sure that was going to be for Shoptaw.
And last but not least, you've already heard his name. You've probably heard his voice from Meet Me at Mutual, or maybe you've seen his written word at his Substack or one of his dozen other pieces of Cardinal content. We've got with us Daniel Shoptaw.
Hello, guys.
If you have an idea for the opening bit, tweet us at Talk About Birds. Wow, what a great group we have together, Ben. Can you believe that we've managed to wrangle these people into actually spending time with us?
No, I can't. I pre-apologized before we started recording. Sorry for wasting your time. Sorry the show was bad. But thank you for being here. And thank you for being our little pod friends.
To be fair, we know what we're getting into. So.
That's true. Good point.
We've been doing this is our 100th episode. Somehow we've managed an episode every week for almost 2 years now. And the three of you, I don't think we would still be doing the show if it wasn't for the support that we've received over the last 2 years, whether it's the listeners or people like yourself who give us your time and your big brains and your ability to say things, in an interesting way. So we really appreciate you being here. I'm sorry that I'm about to waste more of your time here because I have to talk to Ben about we did a thing with the Bird scored over the weekend, and we watched a movie called Deadball. So first of all, I'm sorry to anyone that watched this along with us or watched it after the fact. We got a little bit of a late start because Ben pulled a Samorka and was 45 minutes late to the start of the event.
In my defense, I was provided a flight of mezcal and needed to try those different mezcals.
Yeah. Okay. Defense heard. And rejected. But so Ben, I'll give you a minute here to describe this movie that we watched together.
If somehow you missed this movie, all you really need to know is Jubei Baseball is a young man who killed his dad because he threw a fastball too hard and it went through his face and killed him, I guess.
Well, it depends on which one. If you watch the first movie, Battlefield Baseball, it went through his chest. In the second movie,
yes,
it crushed his face.
It crushed his face. So he swears to never play baseball again. And then, smash cut to, he gets himself in prison so that he can kill a bunch of murderists and rapists and arsonists or something like that. There turns out to be a prison league that he joins, baseball prison league that he joins, and he is essentially coerced into playing a murderous game of baseball on an island that he cannot escape and is being murdered by a team of leather-clad women baseball murderers. He then realizes that the Nazis are actually behind all of this.
Of course.
And starts to play baseball again kills them all. Is that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's in
Yeah.
2024, I am still surprised when Hitler shows up in a movie. You know what I mean? Like it's such a trope, but it even when he's there, you're taken aback a little bit. If you like trauma films, these like really gory B movies, this might be interesting for you. I will say that it was very funny. To me, it was like half um like a trauma, horrible, bloody, gory B film, like purposefully shocking, and like
Yes.
really I felt bad that anyone who listens to this show might watch it, because there's some stuff on screen that I was like, like we told people to watch this and it's horrible.
Yeah.
And but also it's like one half like Naked Gun, Hot Shots, and there's a lot of very silly, goofy, like it was legitimately funny. So we also watched it on YouTube in like potato quality, 360p, which I didn't know still was a thing, and it added a whole sort of layer to the whole thing that you really couldn't see what was going on half the time.
Are you sure you didn't just get Prospects After Dark on? I'm getting confused.
That's my dad is, to be fair, it's all the balls that I've thrown at his chest and through his head that makes people sick. So
You should be in jail.
absolutely.
Yeah, I guess you could watch it. It's on YouTube. It's free, and you could watch the first probably 15 minutes if you make it that far.
I would skip to a middle 20-minute chunk when they're on the baseball diamond. That being said, there is not a single pitch. There's never a ball in play. There is like they throw balls that slice people's heads off.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for baseball, go watch Major League or something like that. But if you're looking for blood and guts and Nazis, this is your film.
So
I like that the recommendation is just go find any 20-minute part in the middle of the film to watch this completely
honestly,
crazy movie.
It really might be the best way to view it, is just go on YouTube, scrub forward somewhere into the middle of the film, and just watch from there. And I think you'll figure out more or less what's going on. Although, I mean, it gets like there's like a mecha Hitler. There's all sorts of yeah. It ramps up.
Spoilers.
His brother. Well, no spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah, please, Vin, please. Let us keep the pristine plot for those who may watch. But yeah, like, so I don't know that I would call the first Bird Scored movie night a success. But we watched this movie, and Ben and I watched it. He was in town, and this is how we spent our time together, was watching this movie. I would definitely still recommend Battlefield Baseball, which was the first one in this series. It's similarly absurd, but just a lot less gross.
Yes.
So yeah. Okay.
You guys, last episode, you guys were talking about another baseball, but that was a baseball movie, right? That was a documentary. You brought it up real quick, and it was about something, and now I can't remember.
Oh yeah, it's a documentary on Amazon. It's about the Cuban baseball players that are defecting.
Yeah.
A much more serious. It's a document, like much more serious movie. That's probably what we should have watched, because it's a real baseball movie.
We probably should have watched just about anything else than this, but here we are.
The Last Out, by the way, which apparently, by all accounts, is amazing. It follows 3 Cuban players and like a handler from LA that tries to, take them to the bigs.
I wanted to track it down. That's why I asked.
Yeah, I hope to watch it soon too. Well, yeah, we're gonna do more stuff like this. We're gonna do more movie nights and game watch stuff as the season ramps up. So maybe we'll find some less absurd things to watch together. Unless that's your thing. Like, part of me really enjoyed it because it was very funny.
Do that on your own time, you freak. Not with me.
Molly watched it with us too, and she's like, I'm never watching that again. Like, why did you make me do this? But yeah. Okay. Let's talk about some Cardinal stuff. It was we're deep in the off season at this point, but we had one of the maybe the biggest moves of the offseason, maybe the strangest of the offseason, maybe the least expected. You and I actually talked about this on a previous episode and how unlikely and how little sense this would make for a baseball team. And when I made my little opening joke, Kelsey, I saw you sort of revile in disgust. And so I'm gonna start with you.
Oh, I don't know
The
if that's fair, but
the
I'll
the
go for it.
Cardinals have brought back Matt Carpenter, who, you know, any Cardinal fan is a huge fan. Yeah, he's a legend, like borderline inner circle Cardinal Hall of Fame, if you ask me. Like maybe the face of the 2010s after your Yachty's and your Waynos and maybe, you know, Matt Holliday. But after that, it's like it's Matt Carpenter, some of the biggest hits of the 2010s and all around cool dude. So I love Matt Carpenter. Gotta love the facial hair. But a surprising move for the Cardinals to make in 2024. Kelsey, how are you feeling about the Matt Carpenter signing?
So I will preface it with that the day that he was designated for assignment by the Braves, I retweeted that and said, you know, in all caps, "Wake up, Mo," and was just
So you did this.
obliterated on Twitter for something that, in all honesty, was very sarcastic. I have never said "Wake up, Mo" in a serious way. There is not a literal way that I would say that. So but call it brainwashing, classic conditioning. Perhaps it is even franchise Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
I can't help but love it. And my initial reaction was quite literally, damn it, DeWitts, take my money. I'm buying my opening day ticket. Forget how much it is. I will be there. So I guess I should start this off by saying, it's me. I'm the problem. It's me, because this is for me. I am exactly the target, the sentimental millennial Cardinal fan. This is for me. And apparently there's a lot more of me. And I guess can we all just accept it for what it is? It's a business move. It's a good business move. And some guaranteed money that is a lot more guaranteed than playing the odds of a deep postseason run or a World Series ring. It's not all that different than bringing Adam Wainwright back last season on the surface level for me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of things I could say, but that's what I'll say.
Awesome. Kyle, what's your take on the Matt Carpenter return?
It's stupid and I hate it. No, I am rooting for Matt Carpenter. How could you not? You know,
Yeah.
I'm in a weird spot. So I've been rewatching for like the 700th time the first season of True Detectives, and it is not the right time in my Cardinal fandom to be experiencing this right now. Yeah, I mean, all kidding aside, I want it to be as good of a season as Pujols had. You know, something. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be that. But I want it to be as good as it possibly can be. And it's not. It's going to be atrocious. We're all going to be frustrated. He's going to be getting at bats that we don't want him to get. And he's going to be taking walks and angry at the strike zone and a terrible defensive first baseman who doesn't run the bases particularly well. I don't think any of that's going to go anywhere. But, you know, it's terrible. Back to you.
Daniel, how about yourself? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah. It's an unnecessary move. I think, to go along with Kyle, it doesn't make the team better, but it is Matt Carpenter, and if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. And it doesn't move the needle either way, I don't think, which is maybe what we can say about most of this off season. It doesn't really move the needle much. I just don't see a real good reason for it, except for the whole clubhouse culture thing that they keep selling. And They really seem to be leaning into that. But, even, and I wrote about this at the Substack, but, even best case scenario, how does he get more than 100, 150 at bats, right? I mean, he's not going to play first. He's not going to play third. He's not going to play second. He's not going to play outfield. He's going to DH some when they don't have everybody else there, maybe. But, now if the bases are loaded and you need somebody to take a walk, sure. But, how often? I mean, which is granted better than what they did with the bases loaded last year. So maybe that's what they're thinking. But, I mean, on the whole, it's not something to be worked up about, but it's not necessarily a move that really needed to be made either.
Yeah.
Some of the comments from him in the interview on 101, he was on BK and Ferrario, and there were a couple things about it that really stood out to me. The first one, Mr. Carpenter mentioned that it was that first night after he got released that Mo reached out to him, and that's when they started the dialogue. I thought that was a fascinating part in this because never in a million years would I have suspected that. Logistically, it doesn't really even make sense from a roster standpoint, but I guess if there's a chance you're going to trade somebody like Alec Burleson, it's probably a good idea to keep Matt Carpenter's number on speed dial, especially if clubhouse culture is a thing. And then I think the other thing that really stands out, maybe not from that interview, but from Katie Woo's interview with Nolan Arenado, is that it seems like Arenado and Goldschmidt helped drive this bus. And that's fascinating to me too. And also more and more, it feels like we're seeing Nolan Arenado's influence on the front office on a daily basis now. And those are just a couple like real baseball things other than, Carcosa and the Yellow King that I dealt with earlier that came through. So those are like the real things that stick out to me.
Yeah, I think like the Arenado stuff is fascinating, and I just like the only stories we've gotten from Mo so far is that he's like really made a point of calling guys like Matt Carpenter, Daniel Descalso, Lance Lynn, all these guys from I maybe he's feeling that nostalgia for the early 2010s, their heyday. And Daniel, I think to your point, like it doesn't necessarily move the needle. It doesn't even have to necessarily be like an impactfully terrible thing. Like, your 26th man is usually someone who is not having a significant impact on the team. But I think like as a fan, we were all expecting an addition to the team to sort of push down everybody and create a new 26th man and not slotting in a new 26th man on the roster. Ben, what are you thinking?
Leadership, baby. you can't just buy that off the shelf. People are ignoring the fact that Matt Carpenter had a 960 OPS plus against left-handed pitchers last year. Now that was in 18 plate appearances, but he showed up. He's the lefty killer. Also,
Yankees legend, Matt Carpenter.
Yankees legend, mustache. Somebody already said mustache. The mustache is good. But he's in the
repeated.
lab with Matt Holliday. And last time he was in the lab with Matt Holliday, what happened? He was the hottest thing in New York City.
For 3 minutes.
So I don't know. I'd like to be on Kelsey's side. I'd like to think that there's some juice left to squeeze. I'd like to think that Matt Holliday can fix him. But I don't think he will. And I think it's really just going to be us angry about stealing at bats from Jordan Walker or Nolan Gorman or Brendan Donovan or Paul Goldschmidt. And it's hard to see this work out well for the Cardinals, but leadership.
I have to say, how dare you all make me have to think about this practically? Absolutely not. But to the leadership point, I have to think that there is something to that. Listen, I want to buy into it, so that's a big part of it. But I think there is something to it in the sense that can you really expect the guys like Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt in the prime of their career to be as responsible for bringing the best out of other people? Don't we want them to be most focused on bringing the best out of themselves? There are other people on that team who can play the role of bringing the best out of their fellow players. And who's to say Matt Carpenter? I mean, we know he is that kind of guy.
Isn't being good better than being a leader? And that's what I'm having trouble piecing together.
You got to have it all. You got to have it all.
Well, I think it's very interesting that we get these stories, this whole idea of getting Matt Carpenter for the leadership, right on the heels of all of these stories for Winter Warm Up about what Brendan Donovan is doing
Mm-hmm.
as a leader, getting the group text, getting people doing this. And if I feel like, some of that leadership void, if you will, Donovan spent this offseason saying, I'm going to fill it. And, I don't know. I think that he's got a better chance of reaching some of these guys, especially like the Jordan Walkers, the Mason Winds, who don't really have a connection with Matt Carpenter. Then, so, I mean, who's Matt Carpenter? Is he just going to lead, Goldschmidt and Arenado or something like that? Which, that's a little bit weird. So I think it's very interesting that it's maybe the Cardinals buying something they don't need, which is a very Cardinals thing to do.
Yeah, I kind of saw it as like further damning of the of Ali Marmol, frankly. Like part of his whole thing, right, is leading the team, being that voice. I've said it before, but I think at this point, management at the big league level is more of like a people manager role, right? And so they just keeps like shouldn't it have been his responsibility to help elevate people into these leadership style positions? Like if we know it's not going to be Goldie, if we know it's not going to be Arenado, that's just not the type of people they are. Okay, we should have known that for a long time now. So what was Marmol and crew doing over the last 3 years to sort of put these guys in these sorts of positions that grow and develop those leadership skills? I was starting to get excited because of the Brendan Donovan thing, because that is kind of that answer. Oh, okay, maybe Marmol and crew and Donovan's that type of guy, and they're bringing that, and you can see it a little bit in Jordan Walker and just his that it might just be the talent that oozes from him, but I think he's the type of guy that seems like he might be able to rally the group
He could
around
tell
him.
me what to do.
His big strong arms. Getting hot flashes over here.
Sorry.
But then they go and do this, and it's like, so is just no one able to develop leadership talent on this team? And so we have to dig into your Descalzos and your Carpenters and things like that. I don't know. It seems like a weird, like I traditionally the role of the guy who's a leader who just sits on the bench the whole time, that's your backup catcher, right? That's why we had our Jason LaRue's and stuff like that. You say they only play a little bit, but they're also great leaders. And so now we just have like the DL, the designated leader on the team is Carpenter.
Y'all ran off Andrew Kisner, so I mean, what are you going to do?
Hey, Texas Ranger Andrew Kisner, obviously someone saw something in him.
Another fascinating thing about the Carpenter interview is he talked about one of the ways he was going to lead was by giving the younger players a voice. And I also thought, hey, Brendan Donovan could do that. And so could the younger players when they're ready to give their voice, which tells me that it's not really a younger player issue. It's a veteran issue more than anything. And I'm probably just reading into it, but I don't know. That's the biggest problem I have with it from a leadership standpoint is it really a matter of like, quote unquote, your team doesn't have good leadership? Or is it just that everything is off balance? Maybe your leaders do it things their own way and they don't really know how to intermingle well with others. You don't, again, I'm not trying to crucify Nolan Arenado here at all, but whenever you hear Brendan Donovan talk, it's about the help that Paul Goldschmidt has given him. When you hear other players other than Lars Nootbaar talk, it's about the help that Paul Goldschmidt gives him. It's never about Nolan Arenado, ever. Newt's been able to break through that crust. And Matt Holliday, of course, has a long-standing friendship with Nolan Arenado, as does Matt Carpenter. But it really does seem like, to me, trying to piece things together, that this is just as much about appeasing Nolan Arenado and trying to help break him through to maybe some of the younger players than it is anything else. And I just wonder if maybe I'm reading a little too much in that direction too.
Maybe, but I mean, if that is the gambit that they're taking, that like the belief is maybe this will help return Arenado, into a level of comfort, and that could add 4 WAR back to the team if Arenado is back to his 6 or 7, that he has been for so long. So
it would also not be surprising for me to learn, or surprising to me to learn, that Nolan Arenado's intensity is alienating in the clubhouse, especially to somebody who's maybe on the bus or coming up for a cup of coffee or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and his intensity is a little different than Wilson Contreras, right? Because he seems introverted in his, whereas Wilson seems extroverted. And when you're that intense as an extrovert, when you're giving that level of intensity extrovertedly, it tends to be contagious. Whereas if you're introverting, you're isolating, and that makes it tougher for people to understand what you're going through because you're so introverted in the introspection.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it, Kyle. And I think like Wilson Contreras, if he's like super amped up, he might run and give you a giant hug because he doesn't know what to do with his emotion. Nolan Arenado may rip you into shreds, and there would be nothing left of your body with his level of intensity and energy. So I can imagine that being kind of terrifying.
While we're over analyzing, maybe I'm totally off base here, but I can't help but think of it from the money making perspective, because the number one goal of every team owner is not to win, it is to make money. So
don't get me started, Kelsey.
Just very simplistically, baseline level, how different would have the final weekend at Busch Stadium been this past season without Adam Wainwright's retirement? So is there a chance that this season runs into the ground the same way that last season did? Absolutely. There's always that chance. There's so many outside circumstances that they can't guarantee. What they can guarantee is if they need to pull a Matt Carpenter retirement weekend out of their back pocket, that they could cash in on that. Is that totally off base, or is there maybe something to that as well?
I mean, it's an interesting point. That was something I was thinking about too when it was first announced. Like, let's run it back, because when it was first announced, it didn't even there was a little window of time where we weren't sure if it was a playing contract or if it was some sort of honorary returning to the team to retire as a Cardinal sort of thing. You don't see that as much anymore, but like that's actually what I thought it was at first. And then the full press release came out and I was like, oh shit, he's like locked into the 26 man basically. But yeah, I think from a business perspective, it's just hedging your bets in a lot of different ways. And if we have to pull the retirement circuit card again, like at least that might make September at Busch a little bit more fun, if he even makes it. Like, we think about the Pujols one. Pujols said later, I don't even think it was until that offseason that he almost retired in June. It was going so poorly. So,
I don't think Matt Carpenter is going to do that. I think Matt Carpenter is going to die on this hill.
But I will say that Matt Carpenter does not have the cachet that Pujols and Yachty and Adam Wainwright did. And so if he's hitting 033 in June on a league minimum salary, and for some reason they've sent down Alec Burleson, who's hitting, whatever the case, they may let him go. I don't think they risk a torches and pitchforks type of situation as they would have with anybody else.
Well, and with 2023, everything was so shit so quickly, and Adam Wainwright had such a specific goal that also only necessitated a little bit of good performance from him to get, because pitcher wins are such a fluky thing. Like, everybody as a fan was just like, once the season was done, it was like, yeah, whatever, just let Waino go for it. We don't really care. It's fun. It's something that's fun. I don't think there is any sort of milestone like that with Matt Carpenter. At least I haven't heard of it.
What a good question.
And there's nothing like 200 pitcher win. Like, he's nowhere near anything like that in today's game. If he was at hundreds of home runs or something, he might be at some sort of Cardinal walk record or something.
He could hit 30 B-WAR this year if he has a really good season.
Yeah, man, I can't wait for everyone to be huddled around on the couch watching him accrue B-WAR.
Hey, nobody thought Albert was going to get to 700, and he crushed it. So
yeah, and definitely everyone's going to be really excited about him acquiring Baseball Reference WAR.
Shut up, Nate.
Y'all, he does have 175 home runs, so
okay, 200. All right, let's get it.
Let's go.
176. Yeah.
Give him
I'm
a
sure
corked
that
bat.
the Cardinals brass have crunched the numbers, and they know what it would take to get a positive return on investment on that Matt Carpenter contract. But the other thing that's funny about about Marp rather, pardon me, about
Thank
Marp
you, please.
is that he is a polarizing St. Louis Cardinal figure, because to me and to members of this council here, if you will, we view him as a surefire Cardinal Hall of Famer, and that's I don't know if we're in the majority or the minority, or if we're in a 50% stake, but I don't think everybody feels that way, and especially the way it ended those last couple seasons. I don't think it carries not only the same, to Daniel's point, the same cachet from a roster building standpoint, but even from a fan standpoint, especially if he comes out and he's taking walks and he's pissed about the strike zone, and he's just more of the same of what we saw before he went and had success in other places.
Yeah. And he really only had a very tiny window of absolute insane success with the Yankees. Like, if you look at, like, there's some really fun things where it's like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Matt Carpenter, you know. But other than that, he basically hasn't had a positive season for over 5 years now.
He is at 699 walks as a Cardinal. So that first walk, bring around.
Let's
go.
Let's end this. We've got to move on. I think we could keep going on.
Maybe it should just be a one-day contract, and everybody would be happy. He'd get his walk. Okay, Nate, I'm sorry.
Will he be in the opening day, not the home opening lineup?
Yes.
What do you all think? Yes. Yeah.
Oh, the lineup. Like, is he actually going to start?
Like, is he a starter on opening day at home?
I don't want to see that. I just want to see him in the back of an electric Ford. Like,
no, I don't think so. They got to find a good time for him to pinch hit, so that he can get the full crowd effect.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah. Okay.
Leadoff hitter opening day, baby. Leadoff hitter opening day.
I'm not advocating for that, to be clear.
They should just ship out Newt and Donovan and just go all in.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
What's
one
Alan
last
Craig doing these days?
Yeah. I've been waiting for him to return. Isn't he? He's in another organization, I think. He's like with the Pirates.
No, he's retired.
Well, no, I mean, like, he's in the office, I think. Isn't he working with some team? I don't know.
Maybe.
One little other bit of news that came up over the last week. As we discussed on last week's episode, Tommy Edman was going into arbitration, and we were all really looking forward to, hearing how mad he was, as he had to be, shamed by his bosses so that he could make less money. But fortunately, they have come to some agreement, and now instead he's got a 2-year deal avoiding arbitration. Doesn't like functionally change anything as far as what the team's going to look like this year or next year. But it is interesting that it is a 2-year deal, buys out arbitration, and that's it. So, like, if there was an opportunity for a Tommy Edman extension, you assume that conversation would have happened in that moment, and either or both parties have determined that's not the case. So it certainly feels like Tommy Edman will not be with the Cardinals after these next 2 years. Kelsey, how are you feeling about Tommy Edman?
I feel like I'm going to be on an island all by myself on this one too. So thanks for making me go first. I'm not thinking about 2 years from now. I'm just happy that Tommy's getting paid next year and the following year, and that I don't have to worry about this next year. Hopefully, I think Tommy Edman. I think my perspective on baseball is a little bit different because I am part of the entertainment industry, and so professional sports is the entertainment industry. And so I relate it a lot to that in my mind when I think about these things. And Tommy Edman, to me, is that actor that you've seen in everything that's like so good in everything, but you don't know his name because he's always different. He's a different type of character in everything. Matthew McConaughey is the same in everything. Leonardo DiCaprio, brilliant. Love him. He's the same in everything.
Like a Steven Tobolowsky type or something.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, I literally couldn't name more because I don't know their names off the top of my head, but it's not that they're less talented. They have less specificity and have less honed skill in one specific area because that's not the opportunity that they're given. That's not the thing that they're hired to do. And that's where I think he is punished and looked down upon for his versatility in a lot of ways. but that is what he's hired to do. And do you think those actors who are in maybe twice as many movies as maybe 3 times as Matthew McConaughey is in, do they want to be on 18-hour sets, all year round? Absolutely not. They would prefer to just have a couple bigger contracts a couple times a year. But that's not what they're doing. Tommy Edman might be better offensively. He might be better at every single defensive position if he could play that exclusively, but he's not given the opportunity to do that, doesn't complain about it, shows up and does everything at least league average, which is still pretty freaking impressive because we're in Major League Baseball. And I don't think anybody would argue that he is a Major League Baseball player and he deserves to be an everyday player. Whether you think it should be with the St. Louis Cardinals or not is another thing, but that's my piece on
No,
Tom.
I think like I'm closer to you than you would than I think you, at least you think, based off of the the opening. Like I think it's interesting to me. Tommy Edman has like the least heralded 6-WAR season in recent Cardinal history that
Yes.
I can think of. Like he had at least one like truly incredible season with the Cardinals. He's not that far removed from it. And you're right. What would it look like if Tommy Edman just got to play second base every day, all day, for multiple seasons and just focus on doing one thing instead of being sort of our like, oh shit, it's collapsing everywhere. Where else can we plug in Tommy Edman? I actually was a little surprised the Cardinals weren't even interested in an extension, or I have no idea. I don't know, Kyle, maybe you know something, but like I'm a little surprised that there wasn't an extension even for a year or so. Kyle, what do you think?
Yeah, so I'm actually I don't think there's a player on the roster that deserves the DeWitt's money more than Tommy Edman does, for those
Yeah.
very reasons. He's done everything. He's in a lot of ways not the way he goes about his business, but he's a lot like what Matt Carpenter was. He did everything. Carpenter reinvented himself as a hitter. He reinvented himself as a fielder. He did everything he possibly could, which will speak to some of his leadership qualities, especially with a team that's going to need a lot of versatility. And that's all Edman has done. He's done everything that the Cardinals have wanted it to, and they've overvalued him every step of the way. So now is the time for him to get paid up to that valuation. For me, you can never have enough depth. That this offseason, and I know that it's a talking point because of how bad the Cardinals starting pitching still looks. But I'm one of these people who said, don't trade Brendan Donovan, don't trade Nolan Gorman, don't trade Tommy Edman. You have to keep them all because it's a long season and guys get hurt, and some of these guys already have lingering injuries, and you have a lot of questions with Mason Wynn in the outfield, and he's just so valuable to the team because he is a failsafe, and he did something last year that no one else really did, including Goldschmidt and Arenado, and that was not screw up a lot. And I know that's like a low bar, but when you're a team that constantly screwed up, especially on the defensive side of the ball and on the base pass, and you've got a guy who does both of those things exceedingly well and can more than hold his own from one side of the plate and is substandard on the other side, like that's a very, very valuable piece. That again, 6-WAR, heavily defensive based, like beyond the war of it all, that's a very valuable player, especially for a young team and a bridge year coming off of their first losing season since whenever, trying to put it all together and find your winning ways. Give that guy 2 years. As far as the contract, I don't know. My guess is that this on a timeline, this works out for both Tommy and it works out for the Cardinals. Gives them time to see what they have out in the outfield. I know everybody's going to go to Victor Scott, but even before getting to Victor Scott, it gives them time to figure that out, as does the shortstop situation. And there's no telling that in 2 years, they could easily extend that depending on how the season goes, how these next 2 years goes. But there's a real chance Tommy Edman could be looking at a real serious free agent payday. So I think it was probably mutual. I think they both saw the benefit of it and seizing the opportunity now.
Yeah, that makes sense. So because I think we're all on Team Tommy here. Tommy Two Bags.
I'll stay.
Uh-oh. I'm getting some heavy grunts from the C70 corner.
Actually, I just had to clear my throat. But I am more on the island. Again, I don't have any problem with Tommy getting the bag or 2 bags or whatever it was. But I still feel like this was a move the Cardinals didn't need to make. I do think that there is a universe, and I've said this a couple times now, and I know I'm probably the only one that thinks it. There's a universe where Tommy Edman is a non-tender candidate at the end of this year without this contract. If Mason Wynn makes the steps we think he does, if either Dylan Carlson takes over center or Victor Scott looks like he's ready for 2025, where does that then put Tommy? Is he backup shortstop? Are you paying now a backup shortstop $8 to $9 million? I don't know. Kyle, I even dropped Kyle's name in the Substack today because I knew he wouldn't read it. And I was seeing if
Kyle had to watch True Detective. Okay.
Yes.
Again.
Thomas Sajasi was. I know they list him as a shortstop. I didn't know if he could cover the position as a backup, whatever the case may be, because the middle infield is going to get started to get a little bit clogged. Although, like Kyle says, the depth is good. Again, it helps that it's just 2 years. I do feel like at the end of this contract, the Cardinals are going to probably part ways because Tommy's going to be getting more expensive. And again, let's look. I mean, he's a guy that is usually offensively 10% below league average, right? I know y'all have talked a number of times about how 2 WAR is kind of the standard, right? The average player. Well, that's except for last year, right where Tommy usually is. And so if you start paying 10, 11, 12 million, which you would assume would be after this contract, I don't think that that's great value, especially for an organization that doesn't necessarily like to increase payroll by a significant margin. Overall, is this a big issue? No, I think it's good. And you're right. Everybody likes Tommy. And if you're going to pay somebody, you're right, pay him. But I just, again, don't think we've seen the Cardinals do contract extensions and contracts that they don't need to make. And I think this is another one of them.
Daniel, I read your Substack today, which is why I came in with my defenses up. So
I knew I like Kelsey.
Hambone, any last thoughts before we move on from the Edman?
It's so much to think about. So I mean, I've always liked Tommy Edman. I've never said a bad word about him. I think
this podcast has always been very. I look at the title of our last episode. I mean, we've always been pro Tommy Edman.
And the thing about Tommy Edman's value is that it's so easy to see and to put your finger on it and to grab hold of because it's just clear. It's there. He's hitting the ball over the wall. But no, I mean, I think 29 teams would kill for a Tommy Edman on their roster. And I think Kyle was kind of hinting at this, and I'm not sure if this is exactly the intent that you had behind it, but the Cardinals have kind of misused Tommy Edman. Like they've taken advantage of him. He is somebody who has decent pop. He has a decent middle infield glove. He can steal bases better than anyone. I guess anyone other than Victor Scott in the organization right now. And he has been kind of he's never really had a starting position. When he did, he won a Gold Glove. And other than that, they've kind of jerked him around. So I think Tommy Edman provides a lot of value for the Cardinals. I don't know if the Cardinals, it's like unrequited love or something like that. It's like they're not realizing what they have in their hand right now, which is why at times I've argued for them to ship him out and maybe trade him for some pitching, because I don't love him being our center fielder of the future. I would much rather give Dylan Carlson a shake at it, or maybe even Lars Nootbaar, because I think Tommy Edman is a middle infielder. So I'm happy that this happened. I'm happy that we don't have to go through ARB again. I think C70 is probably right. He's probably out of St. Louis after these 2 years, but I'm going to enjoy him for the next 2 years. And also generational wealth. Let's go, baby. Like he's set up like $20 million or whatever. So
yeah,
good for him.
Yeah. Tommy, tons of bags, just like bags of whatever he wants. He can afford them now.
He can put bags in his bags if he wants.
He's got so many bags. Well, let's move on. We're gonna do a little game. We're gonna do a little exercise here. So, calling this Draft Day Mount Cardmores edition.
Oh my God!
Let's play the little song. Yeah, it's like our longest one.
Oh, I forgot about it.
I really should have trimmed it after the first
No,
couple
it's great.
draft days.
We could talk over it. We don't have to listen to
I,
you.
I really appreciate, for what I really love about your show is the songs that y'all have are so creative and so many words that get put into those songs. They're great.
Well, you can thank our associate sound producer, Chris Phillips. That was his voice you're hearing there, and he did our opening track as well as a number of the other things
It's
that you
not
hear
just a
throughout.
podcast; it's an experience.
That's right.
Thank you,
That's
Kelsey.
Right. Thank you. Kelsey gets it.
Just rate it on
all
Yelp.
All right. So here's how this is gonna
What's
work.
this game called again, Nate?
I felt like I.
What was your shitty portmanteau?
It was Draft Day Mount Cardmore edition. So there's been a little exercise going around on the social media where everyone is picking their Cardinals Mount Rushmore, and some people are doing it from just a pure talent level. Some people are doing it from like their personal favorites, and so we thought it would be fun if we did that as a group. But the catch is that we're doing it like a draft. So if somebody takes someone, they are no longer available to be on your Mount Cardmore. So I have a little list here. We're going to do it like snake style. So there'll be a pick, and then whoever's the last pick gets two and goes back and forth. And we're all going to build our own little Mount Cardmores. Okay. And we're
No,
going to
he's
see who
not.
has
I
Mount
wanted to do
Cardmore.
something different.
Too bad. This is the segment. So the order is going to be Ben, Kelsey, Kyle, Daniel, and then me. And I'll keep track of everything. So, Ben, who is the first face on your
man.
Yeah.
How did I get first overall pick? That seems like we should have let our guest do that. You're
I
bad
did.
at this.
So we have a number of games that we're gonna play, and I did a randomizer for all of it.
Mm.
So you won this one.
All right.
I have layers of
I'm gonna
questions. Before we start, can I have questions.
Yeah.
Does a person have to be drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals?
No.
Does
the
person have
has
to have
been
ever
a Cardinal?
played? That's my second question. Does if the person was drafted by the Cardinals and never made it to the majors, can that person be on the list?
You know what? Yes. If they were a member of the St. Louis Cardinals organization at one point in their career, then they can go on your list.
My questions have been answered. Please proceed.
I guess that means I have to go with Brett Wallace first overall, right? Let's go.
Damn it. I had him on my list too. All right, Ben, you've got first overall.
I don't want to be a Cardinals baseball hipster. If I get first overall pick, I'm gonna take Bob Gibson. My favorite Cardinal of all time.
Nice.
Need I say any more? It's Bob Gibson. He's number one with a bullet. Let's go.
All right, Bob Gibson off the board. Kelsey, who you taking?
I will be slightly strategic and take maybe the only one of mine that someone else might take, and that's Yadier Molina.
Wow, Yachty jumping the list, going second overall. Great pick. Kyle.
Pete Cosmo, you cowards.
Scrappy Pete.
Hey man, that was it the 2012 playoffs where he saved a couple games for us?
I thought the 11 where he killed the Nationals, right?
12.
It was
12?
yeah. I thought it was 12, and then he had a little hand in 13 as well.
Little tiny hand.
Yeah.
It's tiny hands. Man, talk about a mixed emotions on a guy. There's been no one more hated and loved than Pete Cosmo, depending on the moment that you were talking about him.
And now he has to deal with a small hands connotation.
Hey, but he's etched into stone on your Mount Cardmore that I've said way more times than I wanted to. All right, Daniel.
I thought picking fourth meant some of my picks would be out of the way, and then somehow I am here with Stan Musial and Albert Pujols still on the board on a Cardinal podcast. I'm not really sure how this goes. If we're going with, what it means for the organization, I guess I'll go Stan.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't think he would fall to you, Daniel. Great pick. All right, now it comes to me for 2. And same to what Daniel's saying. So I'm going to take Ozzie Smith, my favorite Cardinal of all time, my spark bird, if you will. And
Jesus.
I don't know if you listened to any of those episodes, Kyle, but yeah. All right.
He can assume what it means.
Yeah. And I'm going to take Albert Pujols, Ozzie Smith, and Albert Pujols. Daniel, we're back to you.
I think I'll save Tyler Lyons for a while.
Patron pitcher.
Let's see. I will say, me. It's too early in a draft like this, but I'll go Adam. I'll go Wainwright.
You're taking Wayno. All right. Wow. Kelsey just a shot through the heart. Yeah. Yeah.
We'll talk trade later.
She gasped. Adam Wainwright. Okay. Kyle. We're back.
Tyler Lyons.
From the top rope.
My second pick is Tyler Lyons.
Yeah, I've already wrote it. I know you're not joking. It's locked in. All right. Kelsey, we're back to you.
Right. My spark bird, my coming of age crush, Matt Morris, please.
Matt Morris. Nice. Now that's
that
a
soul
pick.
patch. Need to bring that back.
That man can grow facial hair.
And what else are we really looking for? Ben, you get two picks.
Okay. I'm gonna go Ray Lankford. I'm gonna go Ray Lankford and Chris Carpenter. I love Chris Carpenter.
Yeah. That might have been literally my 2 picks if it had fallen all the way back to me.
Sucks to be you.
Yeah. No, that's pretty tight most of the time. Kelsey, back to you.
I'm gonna go with Edgar Renteria.
Oh,
nice.
Maybe my favorite Cardinal shortstop.
Talk about Sparkbird.
Edgar Renteria. All right, Kyle.
Packy Naughton.
Oh. He's relevant.
Packy Naughton.
You know he changed his uniform, right, Kyle?
I have another pick. You wait your turn.
Well, it is now. I've got so many sheets open. It is Daniel's turn.
Well, if I can't get anybody that has a number 70, I'll take the guy that hit 70, Mark McGwire.
Oh,
nice.
Damn it.
That's a good one. All right. Well, so these are my last 2 picks. We're doing 4. I'm pretty torn here. I've got Ozzie Smith and I've got Albert Pujols. So let's see. This is another big one from my childhood. Unheralded player. I was looking through my my collection of cards from the 90s the other day, and I was reminded of him. So I'm going to go with Ron Gant. Ron Gant is up there next to Albert Pujols and Ozzie Smith.
And more number 5, so why not?
There you go. And for my last pick, while his son may ultimately rise to higher levels of fame than he did, let us not forget the man who hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning off of the same pitcher, a feat that will never happen again. That's right. Fernando Tatis is my last pick.
So brave.
I actually thought you were going with Holiday till that got going a little farther.
Fernando Tatis or Matt Holliday is, really what I should have taken as far as favorite players, but I needed the 2 grand slams in a single inning represented, carved into stone.
Fair.
I
will go with Scott Rowland.
Scott Rowland, great pick.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I
This
started
is
second guessing myself after
I know this is the last round. Kyle, who's gonna join your hollowed halls here?
I'm torn, guys. I'm torn. I don't know if I should go Donovan Solano or David Peralta. I don't know where Breivik Valera fits in this. I haven't decided.
Oh my God.
I'm emotional.
Yeah.
Jimmy Jarnall is up for consideration here.
Don't remember that one. Scott
I
Spezio
think
on your list?
Justin Pope is there too.
I was just about ready to say,
Terrio, still on the
I
board.
feel a certain allegiance to one right-handed pitcher named Jordan Swaggerty. Jordan Swaggerty would go up on my Mount Rushmore.
Do I know who that is?
You
How
don't remember
dare you?
Swaggerty? Come on.
Swaggerty.
Kelsey, one of 2 people who are trying. Will you you want to round us out here?
Well, I like
What's your
Kyle
last
have a
one?
Rolodex of names: So Taguchi, Tino Martinez,
Ooh.
Yeah.
Jason Simon-Tachi, Garrett Stevenson, all guys that I absolutely loved.
Wow.
But I think I got to go with a big culture guy who I'm really glad that we still have around, and take good old Willie McGee.
Nice. Great choice.
Slam dunk.
Love Willie McGee. Ben, last pick.
I want to get a little sentimental on this pick because he is the most available Cardinal of my lifetime. And by that, I mean he has availability to meet his fans, which I appreciate. John Mabry to round it out for me. Love John Mabry. Not a good player, but an available, nice guy.
All right, I'm going to run through the list here. Ben, you had Bob Gibson, Ray Langford, Chris Carpenter, and John Mabry.
Oh,
Kelsey, Yadi Molina, Matt Morris, Edgar Renteria, Willie McGee, Kyle, Pete Cosma, Tyler Lyons, Packy Naughton, Jordan Swaggerty. Daniel, you had Stan Musial, Adam Wainwright, Mark McGuire, Scott Rowland. And I had Ozzie Smith, Albert Pujols, Ron Gant, and Fernando Tatis. Imagine if we could have a Mount Rushmore that actually had, 16 people up on it. I think this is the 16 people that the collective fan base would align on. So I think we did a pretty good job here, folks. If you're listening and you want to weigh in, let us know. What is your personal favorite? Or if you want to pick from the 5 here, let us know. We're going to go back to some actual baseball talk. Kyle, I am interested to hear, we're getting very, very close to spring training actually starting. We all know about our Victor Scotts and even our Mason Wins and our other, prospects that we've all been following for a long time. Who are you most excited about seeing in spring training this year that maybe our listeners have not heard about or have heard much about?
I don't want to talk about baseball. Is there anything else we can talk about? No.
Don't worry, I've got a bunch of other bullshit for us to do here in a minute.
I think one of the things the Cardinals did this offseason is they put themselves in a position where there aren't going to be many names that you haven't already heard that are clamoring for spring training, making a name for themselves in spring training. There's a couple relievers like Ryan Ludis. I think there's a chance that he ends up being a name that people talk about. He's a relief pitcher from he's not from WashU. He went to WashU here in St. Louis. Andre Granillo, another relief pitcher. He's got a big slider, pitched in the Arizona Fall League. I think it's going to be more like that. Last year there was a kid named Nathan Church who he's not a real prospect, but he made a debut in some spring training games, and the Cardinals brass really like him. It's the same kind of thing with Jeremy Rivas, also in Arizona Fall League grad. The brass love him. The player development loves him. He's not a real prospect. might make a name for himself in spring training a little bit. Really good defensive skills for both Church and Rivas. And other than that, I think the names that we're going to be keeping an eye on are pretty much the same names that we kept an eye on last spring training, along with the additions from the trade deadline. So Thomas Sajasi, Takoa Roby, Kloffenstein, or Adam Kloffenstein rather, Sem Robersa, to go along with Gordon Graceffo. Really, I mean, Tink Hence maybe be a name, but other than that, I don't think that this spring training really opens itself up for that type of I guess, high quality looks for many of the young players. There'll be some guys here and there. There's some pretty tools up players. Be prepared to be sold Pedro Pajes, for a good reason. He's a great kid and a leader. But you're going to get a good, healthy dose of him and what he's capable of, because they're also trying to sell you on him a little bit. And I would imagine that the whole revolving group of catchers are going to be talked about a little bit here and there, because you can never really have enough catching depth in the organization. But I think by and large, it's those guys, and then the I guess the Buddy Kennedys and Jared Youngs and our friend of the show, Michael Ciani, that are going to end up being the names that we hear more than anything, along with some of those independent league players that they brought in recently. I think that's what we're going to see more than anything.
I had forgotten about maybe the biggest move of the offseason, Buddy Kennedy. So I am hoping to see some good Buddy Kennedy content this spring.
I'm not.
All I was thinking was Swaggerty is spelled with one G. I found him eventually. I've been Googling, I've been searching on Fangraphs. Who the hell is this guy? And I found him. So that's what's going on over here.
Wow. Okay. Kelsey, you and I on the show, we've talked a lot about vibes. How are you feeling about the vibes on the team right now as we head into the 2024 season?
I'll have to take a good hard vibe check once we actually get into spring training. We see some real interaction and the way that they're putting the team together out on the field. Because if I'm being honest, I don't feel all that different, like just in all things, than we did last season. And coming into last season, I didn't feel the sense of dread that I guess I should have. But yeah, I mean, I think Kyle mentioned something earlier on about how it's just really not that different, and that's where my lack of excitement is coming from, because I did really think that this was going to be one of the biggest offseason, probably the biggest offseason in my lifetime for the Cardinals, and I don't feel that it has been in my sense of anticipation or excitement. But I love so many of the guys on the team. I think there's so many things to be excited about and individual performances to be invested in. Whether or not that they come together and the vibes are there is yet to be determined.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. That makes sense. Well, a good segue too. The last sort of Cardinal conversation we're gonna have before we move into some more stupid games and broader baseball stuff. C70, Daniel, how would you rate this off season on a scale of 1 to 1,000? How do you
to 1,000,000?
On a scale of 1 to 1,000,000, how would you rate this off season?
Well, I mean, when you narrow it down like that, I gotta think it's 742,370.6. I think that's where I'd rate it.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I mean,
flat C, straight in the C territory.
Yeah. I mean, they did what they said they were going to do, right? They got the 3 pitchers. Not the way that we would have liked to. I agree with Kelsey that we thought this post offseason was going to be a lot more exciting than it was, but they did what they set out to do, and they did get Sonny Gray, which is a top of the rotation guy. So, all things, again, going into last year, we didn't expect the bottom to fall out, but it does seem like this is a fairly solid group. Not exciting, not great. If there was a team that was actually trying in the NL Central, you probably wouldn't be as happy. But nobody seems to be, so it's okay. They've done pretty well with the relievers. They cleared out a little bit of the outfield log jam. Again, it's just, I guess one of those typical Cardinal things. They kind of went about their business in the most bland way they could, but it will probably get them 86 wins and a likely first round matchup with the Dodgers. So, I mean, who knows?
All you have to do is get past the top half of their lineup and their first 3 pitchers, and then they're not that good. So I don't know why everyone is worried about the Dodgers. You just focus on
James
those.
Paxton. He sucks.
Cardinals and Dodgers in the postseason, you throw the records out.
That's why Matt Carpenter's here. What's Matt Adams doing right now? Yeah, well said, Daniel. I think we're pretty in alignment. I think I would have said literally that exact same number. It's crazy.
Probably it's pretty obvious, I think.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna move into. Don't worry, Kyle. We're about to do peak stupidity here. This one's for you. I've got a game.
Talk about a matchup.
Here we go.
I've got a game. It's a popular one on the show. We haven't played it for a while though. A bit of feedback we hear on the show pretty regularly is that we don't actually talk about birds enough. Okay. And so that's why we're returning to another edition of Bird or Boy.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a bird. It's a bird. It's a bird. It's a bird. It's a boy.
We were talking about while I was in St. Louis how dumb our podcast name is, but you know what? We're moving on.
So the way this game works is I'm going to say a name. It is either the last name of someone who at some point in their career played for the St. Louis Cardinals, or it's a type of bird. You have to guess which it is. If it is, I've got more sound effects. After you guess, if it is a boy, you'll hear this.
A real boy.
And if it is a bird, you'll hear this. So, I also...
That was a duck, by the way.
Yeah, it's a duck.
Oh.
Can you guys... I'm afraid the sounds aren't coming through. Can you hear these okay?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We can.
So what are we supposed to buzz in? How does this work?
No. We're going to go in order here. I did another randomizer here.
Just warning to the other players, I'm very good at this game. I know all about boys and birds. So good luck.
Oh.
Well, Ben, you're going to get a chance to show off here because you're going first again.
Damn it.
Heck of a randomizer you got there.
I know, right? I should have. I did these all separately at different times. I didn't realize that Ben goes first on 2 of them. So, oh well. Ben.
Bad show.
Myzomela.
Oh shit. Myzomela. Based on pure instinct, it's clearly a bird. I'm gonna say it's a waterfowl of some kind, but bird. Yes. Let's go.
The Allor myzomela is a species of bird in the family Mephiligadidae, the honey eaters. It is endemic to the Indonesian island of Allor, where it is the only representative member of the genus Myzomela. It is named after Dewi Malia Prawaradalaga, an ornithologist at the Indonesian Institute of Science and one of the first leading female Indonesian ornithologists.
Who was that again?
I'm not going to say it again.
That was a good cold read, Nate. Very impressive.
Thank you. Kyle.
Dumbass.
Kyle. Galloway.
Kyle stepped away from the computer. You'll have to ask somebody else the question.
Nope. I'm looking right at you. Kyle. Galloway. Bird or boy?
Both? But I'll say
both.
I'll say
both is not an acceptable answer in this game. You must pick a side.
Well, that's your fault. I don't know what to tell you.
It is my fault. I made the game.
I'll say boy so that I can say it's a real boy.
A real boy.
That's right. Let's see. Jim Galloway played second base and shortstop for the St. Louis Cardinals in 1912.
Wasn't
Wow.
there a Joey Galloway also?
Or are you thinking of Joey Gallo?
I'm pretty. I'll look it up, but I'm pretty sure
Okay.
there's a video of Joey Galloway jumping over a Lamborghini in a parking lot. Continue.
Wasn't he a wide receiver? Joey Galloway was a wide receiver.
Oh shit, you're right. Yes.
Nice.
All right, I'll shut up.
All right.
Neither
Kelsey Kinlock.
I can't. I don't have any logic here. I'm just gonna go with Bird.
Same.
A real boy.
Sorry, Kelsey. Billy Kinlock played third base for the Cardinals in 1895.
I thought
did
we
you
were
not know
only
that?
picking boys that were around post 1900, so my bad.
Daniel Drongo.
Cal, wasn't he a bounty hunter in the last Star Wars?
I thought it was a boxer from the Creed, the Apollo Creed. I thought it was that.
I'll go with a bird. Just why not?
Wow.
The Aldebra drongo is a species of bird in the drongo family. It is endemic to Seychelles, where it occurs only on the island of Aldabra. It has a small population of only around 1,000 birds. Wow.
Wow.
Nice one, Daniel.
Great cold read again, Nate.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
natural.
Daniel, I almost did bird or boy or Star Wars and was going to put in Star Wars guys in here too. And I was like, no, that's too much chaos. All right, Ben, back to the top. Millard.
Fillmore, Mallard. I'm going to say boy.
A real boy.
It's a real boy.
Hell yeah.
Frank Millard played second base for the Cardinals in 1890.
Told y'all I was good at this game.
Kyle. Kittiwake.
Yeah, never mind. How about it's a bird?
Killing it.
Wow.
Killing it.
We did it.
The black-legged kittiwake is a seabird species in the gull family. Wow. All right, Kelsey. Y'all are very good at this.
Except for me.
Well, Kelsey, you got a good one here. Stanky.
I don't like birds. I am bad at this.
Sorry for the show.
Yeah, you did not get this feedback from me. Let's go with Bird.
A real boy.
All right, Kelsey.
I want to start
Eddie
naming my
Stanky.
birds.
Eddie Stanky played second
Oh.
base for the Cardinals in 1952 and 1953.
Wasn't he like famous for like bending the rules quite a bit? And yeah, I'll stop talking. He's interesting.
He was basically a racist, from what I remember too.
Oh, damn it. Of
and he was a manager for a while.
Wow, that's interesting to you, huh, Ben?
Yeah, I guess that was what the good part, or the part I liked.
All right, Kyle, I want to remind you, you must choose bird or boy.
Actually, it's my turn. So
Oh, wait, did I? Okay, yes. Thank you.
To be fair, it's probably a good idea to remind me every 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because, you know.
Daniel, thank you. Better show host than me. Daniel, parrot.
Boy.
A real boy.
That's right.
Dennis.
Jeff Parrott. He was a pitcher in the 90s. 95
But
to
a
96.
parrot is also clearly a bird. What the hell?
Not this one. This is Jeff Parrott.
This
Ben,
what?
shell duck.
We've done this before. Shit, I don't remember though. No, it's a bird. Yes.
Man, I'm getting in your head with Shelduck though. All right,
Is that the fourth time you've asked me, Sheldon?
I do. We do Shelduck every time. This will probably be the last. Now that's made a big point. All right, Kyle, Tomko.
Oh, that's a real boy.
Yeah, I
real
wondered
boy.
if people would remember him. Brett Tomko.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I lucked out there.
Kelsey, here's your chance. Redemption. Sisticola.
I feel like I should pick Bird because you've given me two boys, but I've picked Bird and been wrong both times, so I'm going to go with boy this time.
Kelsey.
No logic.
You give me too much credit, Kelsey. Sisticola, Levolance sisticola, also known as the tinkling sisticola, is a small passerine bird which is native to marshlands in the uplands of Africa, southwards of the equator.
Could be saying anything.
Last one, Daniel. Cardinal.
I do remember a player with that last name. I can't remember if he was a Cardinal or not. So we will say real boy.
A real boy.
Wow.
That's right. Jose Cardinal, an outfielder in 1970 and 1971. So three-way tie, Ben, Kyle, and Daniel. Kelsey, better luck next time. Read some bird watching books, I guess.
I
Chelsea's
really
never coming on the
dislike
show again.
birds. I really dislike birds, guys. So this is just how this would go for me. It's okay.
Yeah,
This
she
is
does
not
not
gonna
like
help.
talking about birds. I think that's
Yeah.
we need to be clear.
All right, we got a few more.
Was like an Italian mobster from the Hill here in St. Louis too. It didn't help. Like what they all sounded like.
Yeah, they did. This game does allow me to do one of my favorite things, which is just Googling list of all birds. It's a good Google.
I hate you.
Kelsey's least favorite Google.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna do just a few more things as we wrap up the episode. But we want to give a chance for the guests of the show to plug where people can find and listen, and if people are listening to us and are not following them, you really should be. So Kelsey, where can people find you and your content?
Yeah, I'm on the Twitter at K-Bird Tweets, because even though I hate birds, that is my last name. KBURD Tweets.
Yeah.
And if you get there, you find the link tree and you can find every podcast that I'm a part of. I do my weekly episodes of my solo podcast, Peace, Love, and Baseball, which currently is featuring a different Major League Baseball franchise highlight every week. And then I also do a couple other weekly shows with some badass women who love to cover all of baseball with me at Bourbon and Baseball and Babes. But yeah, you find me on Twitter at K-Bird Tweets. You find the link tree. You find it all right there.
Nice. Yeah. Highly recommend. Kyle, how about yourself?
I cannot stress loudly enough how little I want to follow it. If you're listening to this and you are following me, unfollow me. Do not, under any circumstance, follow me for anything. And if I could say it one more time, do not, under any circumstance, follow me for anything. Now, in the other room is my husband, Daniel Shoptaw. He is doing everything. Follow all of his stuff. And of course, Kelsey.
Wonderful. Well, Daniel, please, if you want to walk over to Kyle's mic for this too.
Yes, come on.
That'd be so cute.
Please note that Kyle finished 6th this year in Top Cards on Twitter.
Oh.
I bring it up because he hates it.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to mention that again. So I think that yeah. I've actually thought about stopping, but as much as Kyle hates it, I have to keep going.
Yeah, it's worth it.
You find me at C70. You find everything there for the most part because I am not terribly shy about throwing out a link and hoping that somebody actually follows it. Meet me at Mutual, Gateway to Baseball Heaven, the Substack, Cardinals70.substack.com. That pretty much sums it up.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank the three of you again for being here and just being such great parts of the community and helping other people and just you make being a Cardinal fan even more fun, especially after years like last year. If you want to support this show, we are listener supported on Patreon. I want to shout out two new patrons, Kathy W. and Mike H. Really, really grateful every time someone clicks that button and joins the Patreon. Ben and I are shocked and deeply grateful. So
Yes.
thank you to everybody.
Worry what's wrong with you, but thank you.
So thank you. Patreon.com/talkingaboutbirds. Something new. We now all of our podcasts are available on YouTube. I think if you search Talking About Birds, you have to scroll through a whole lot of bird content, but you'll find us. If you do Talking About Birds, a St. Louis Cardinal podcast, you'll go right to it though.
Most of the things that come up are like parrots opening their mouths and then people dubbing things over it. So watch that instead. That sounds better.
And you can find all of our stuff on talkingaboutbirds.com. All right, we're gonna run through some of the bigger things from league news here, and we're gonna wrap up with one last little game. Ben, do you want to run us through the highlights of the league news from the last week?
Yeah, only a few things to get through really quickly. Adrian Beltre, Joe Mauer, and Todd Helton have all been elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Adrian Beltre, in my opinion, one of the best third basemen of all time. Love him. Joe Mauer is the only one I question a little bit. I know people like him. And, I live in Denver. I'm a huge Todd Father fan. Very happy for Todd Helton. But fun story. All good guys. Like it's we don't have any problematic figures unless C70 wants to correct me on some horrifying story I'm missing. But all good guys. It seems like.
Yeah. Beltre is like nearly inner circle Hall of Fame at this point,
yes.
Right? Like, yeah, he's the man.
Yeah, and two first balloters, which is something that the stupid BWAA is not very good at doing recently. Yeah. So happy about that.
Do you think that Adrian Beltre will have Neftali Feliz, Elvis Andrews, come up and rub his head during his speech?
He should.
I hope so.
Does Elvis have a job right now? I think he might be available.
He was with the White Sox last year.
Yeah, I think he's still with the White Sox.
Yeah, but they got Paul DeYoung now. What do they need?
That's a great point. They don't need
Lots locked up, pal. Yeah, sorry.
Solid.
Oh, I want Paul to have a good year in Chicago so bad. All right, a couple of interesting moves. Big time relievers getting signed. The Astros signed Josh Hader, 5 years, $95 million. That deal is probably going to work out really well for a team that I hate. And then the Angels continue to be confusing, and they give a solid reliever 3 years and $33 million. I think that's the thing that's going to put them over the edge. They needed that middle reliever.
That guy. Who was it? You just said solid reliever.
Oh, I did. Robert Stevenson.
Robert Stevenson.
I might as well say, I mean, that's the most nothing name of all time. Yeah. Robert Stevenson.
Jeff
Human
Pitcher
baseball
was
player.
signed too, yeah. The Hader deal is actually a little lower than I was expecting it to be on a AAV.
Cardinals should have done that.
Well, that's what we were talking about a few weeks ago, right? Like if it was 500 or less, like the Cardinals maybe should have thought about it, but they don't do things like that. But,
Helsley and Hader in the back of the bullpen would have been the most fun summer ever, but
yeah,
here we are. And hot off the presses, Milwaukee. This is going to be old news by the time the show comes out, but Milwaukee signs Reis Hoskins to a 2-year, $34 million deal to be their first baseman of probably just next year because he has an opt out after 2024. But interesting move. The Milwaukee actually did something. So the Central gets 2% more difficult.
How weird.
Yeah, I mean, their offense is pretty rough. And so assuming he returns to form. Like could be a pretty good move for them, which you hate to see.
You hate to see it. And yeah, that's it. Light news week. Thank God we had more entertaining people on than us to help make this podcast seem decent.
All right. Well, we've got to end the show with a game. I got one last for you guys. All right, and then we're gonna get out of here. So this time we're returning to Who Charted.
Who charted?
All right. So the 2023 was a forgettable year, but just how forgettable was it? I have a series of stats from individual players in 2023, and you all are going to Price is Right style see who can get closest to the number from that stat. So here we go. I think Kyle's just leaving. No, okay, he got to a better spot. Okay. All right. Tommy Two Bags. We love him, don't we, folks? How many doubles did he hit in 2023? Daniel, we're going to start with you.
I am going to be terrible at all this, so
Yeah.
I'll just start out with 24.
24. I tried to pick ones, by the way, that everybody should maybe have a general idea, but I'm not expecting anyone to just be able to know these things off the top of their head. But you might know one or two of them.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for couching it with that.
Kyle, how many doubles did he hit in 2023?
My guess was 23 before Daniel said 24, and now I definitely don't trust that guess. So I will say, he's always been kind of a little doubles machine, which makes it tough. I'll say he had a down season. It was 21.
21. All right. Kelsey.
I believe in Tommy Two Bags. Give me 26.
26. Ben.
I don't believe in you all, so I'm going to go with $1.
Playing the game. Tommy Edman hit 25 doubles in 2023. So that one's going to go to Daniel. Closest without going over at 24.
Wow.
Very good.
Just remember, I believed in you, Tommy.
Lars Newbar. How many plate appearances did he have in 2023? Kyle, we'll start with you.
441.
441. Kelsey.
444.
Nice. Kyle's got a narrow window for success here. Ben.
Me, I say, first number that came to my head, 350.
350. Daniel.
I'll say 370.
Damn it.
So he actually played a lot more than I think we all feel like he did. He had 504 plate appearances.
Damn.
Wow.
So Kelsey, you're going to take that one. Closest without going over, 444. All right. Wilson Contreras. What was his end of season OPS? Kelsey, we're going to start with you.
I'm going to say 820.
820. Ben.
Sorry, Kelsey, but my first thought was 825. I'm going to lock in 825.
825.
Yeah. That's how you play the game right there.
Me, he had that nice run at the end of the year. I'll say 889.
889. And Kyle.
Yeah, 827 was the first that came to my mind.
Damn it.
Okay, you're not going to believe this. His end of season OPS was 826. So Ben. Ben only wins if it's 825 or 826. And it was 826. So
right.
Ben, you're going to take it. Right now we have Daniel, Kelsey, and Ben all tied at 1. Our fourth question. How many runs did the Cardinals score in 2024? Ben, you will start.
Oh shit. Not very many. Under 1,000. I'm gonna say 738.
Okay.
That seems-
Daniel.
we'll see.
I really don't want to say one. I will say,
Playing the game.
yeah, 820. I'll say 826.
Nice.
Worked last time.
Yeah. Kyle.
768.
Damn it.
Kelsey.
744.
Oh no.
Well, no one's gonna win this one. You all overshot.
God, they sucked last year.
Should have stuck with the one.
Yeah, the Cardinals scored 719 runs.
Wow.
I was gonna go with 700, but I second guessed myself because of Kyle.
Yeah. Well,
I trust
all
Kyle
missed
too
out.
much.
Yeah.
Kyle
we
does
missed
never
him.
let anybody to a good decision.
Says my
So-
husband. I was a true story. I was trying to do whatever 4 times 162 was, and then I kept getting tripped up on the 4 times 6, and I kept thinking like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And then I just said a number.
I wonder. Hold on, I'm gonna do that really quick, but not in my head. I'm gonna do it.
It's
with a
8, and then you carry the 2, and it's
You're making me mess up the calculator. Kyle, that would have been 648. So you actually that
Yeah.
would have
Would have won.
worked. Yeah.
I never got
So
to
yeah,
the
what is
6.
their
I
average? Then
forgot-
probably
Sorry, go ahead.
4.2 or something. So 719 divided by 162.
4.44.
Because you
4.44.
know, folks, doing math is the best way to get podcast listeners.
An hour and a half into a show just doing math. Yeah, it's good content. All right, moving over to the pitching side of the ball. Pitching side of the ball. That's the thing people say. How many strikeouts did Adam Wainwright get? Daniel, we're going to start with you.
It's a mean one.
I have no
It was a
idea.
rough year.
70.
All right, Kyle.
35.
Kelsey.
I'm gonna go with his number, 50.
And Ben.
Okay. I guess I'll split. I'll go 62.
All right. He had 55 strikeouts.
Ah!
So Kelsey. Yeah. Very good.
That is so bad.
I felt bad picking 50, but I knew my heart of hearts wanted to way overshoot.
Yeah. All right. A similarly not nice one. How many home runs did Miles Michaelis give up in 2023? Kyle, we're going to start with you.
29.
29. All right. Kelsey.
37.
All right. Ben.
I'm gonna go 32.
Yeah.
And Daniel.
I feel like I saw this somewhere along the way and I've completely forgotten it. 24.
All right. He gave up in 2023 26.
Oh,
So,
right.
Daniel, you're going to take that one.
How many
Not
did
bad.
Lance Lynn give up? Because he gave up the most. I feel like it was
40,
in the 40s.
it was
right?
47?
Yeah.
47 or
44.
49, something like
That's
that.
I was trying to think it was not that much, but it felt worse. Miles actually had an okay year last year. The Cardinals were just bad around him.
Yeah.
I mean, his year was fine, I guess.
Daniel and Kelsey are tied right now.
Damn it.
And yeah, so we've got 2 more. All right. Here's a fun one. What was Dakota Hudson's win percentage?
Oh.
Kelsey, we're starting with you.
It was better than we all think it was. I'm gonna go with 615.
615. Okay. Ben.
Was it better than we all think it was?
Oh God.
Better than it should have been.
Okay.
It wasn't 0, so yes.
I was gonna say 0. I'll be nicer and I'll say 25 or 250, whatever.
Yeah,
25%. Yeah.
25. Daniel.
He had that stretch where he won 2 or 3 games, and
Did he?
yeah, but it
Yes.
was like he pitched terrible. He just happened to luck into a couple of wins. I'll just say 500.
Okay. And Kyle.
379. Real fast. I would like to talk about Dakota Hudson for one minute.
Yeah.
If I could just have 1 minute
Please.
of your
Go
time.
Part of these games was just to get us talking about random Cardinal players. So yes, please.
I remember that one of the things that some really smart baseball people used to say is that, people who complain about Dakota Hudson are misguided because he gets wins. He gets wins. And that, honestly, is when I realized that we should not invest into the win total at all. So on a personal level, I hate Dakota Hudson. And on a professional level, I hate Dakota Hudson. So I'll say 363.
Kyle, I truly felt like you were about to go on a spiel about how we should like Dakota Hudson.
no.
Like something about the
Oh,
way
no.
you started that made me think that this was about to be a pro Dakota Hudson spiel, and it ended with pure hatred, and I love it. However, Dakota Hudson went 6-3 in 2023, putting his win percentage at 667.
Wow.
I knew
wow.
he won more
Yeah.
than he lost. I knew
Very
it.
Yeah.
good.
So
Wow.
Kelsey takes it with 615. And our last one. So Kelsey, it's yours to lose. How many runs were allowed by the Cardinals in 2024?
All of
Ben.
them.
Ben, we're going to start with you.
I'm going to go with 888.
Nice. Daniel.
I don't really think I should go under that. 916.
All right, Kyle.
All right. Am I the last one?
No, Kelsey's the
Kelsey.
last one.
What is 5.8 times 162? I'll say 894.
All right, Kelsey, you are the
Damn it.
last one.
What did Ben pick?
888.
Ben is at 888. Yeah, Daniel's at 916 and Kyle's at 894.
For all the marbles, Kelsey.
Okay, I think I want 850.
All right, so the Cardinals gave up in 2024 829. So none of you take this one,
Wow.
which means Kelsey wins. Congratulations, Kelsey. You
Right.
won. Who charted?
Makes up for the birds.
There you go. Actual baseball knowledge, but you could really brush up on your bird name literature. So, all right,
Do that.
I won't. No.
Pass. All right, that's it. Thank you, the three of you, again, so much for doing all of this with us, for coming on the show over the last 2 years, and just being a part of the community. It's been so much fun, and we truly cannot thank you enough. Like I said it at the beginning of the show, but this started as just like a hobby of Ben and I don't think we would still be doing it if we didn't have such a cool like group of people that we get to interact with.
So you're
much
blaming it on
through
us. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want us to stop, it's in your hands. But no, truly, thank you all. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
To our listeners as well.
Yeah, I can't believe we did this. I can't believe we recorded this tonight. I can't believe we made it 100 episodes. Yeah, thank you guys.
Happy 100th.
So,
Congrats,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Do that Freddie Freeman dance. Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to this season with all of you, and we'll continue to bring the show every week. And we're all hoping for a much better 2024. But at the very least, it'll be fun to experience it all together. So,
Wow.
to our listeners again, thank you.
Wow.
And we'll be back next week with just Ben and I, probably.
Sorry.
Yep, but we'll be back next week. And until next week, go Cardinals.
Thank you. Bye.